If you're ready.
Okay. Good.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the May 19th, 2016 meeting of the Litchfield Mosquito Control District. I'm Chairman John Latcher. To my left is Acting Vice Chairman Al Raccio. I'd like to thank Anthony DeMambro for doing our cable tonight. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chair will call the roll. Acting Vice Chairman Al Raccio.
Present.
I'm here, obviously. Okay, next on the agenda is approval of the minutes of March 17th, 2016. Al, did you take a view of those? If you want, I'll give you a couple minutes to do that. I know this.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
I'll second it. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Next on the agenda is invoice numbers 5925, 5928, and 5891. 5925 and 5928 have been paid, as far as I know, for $3,085 each for those invoices.
That is consistent with our
Right.
monthly contract.
In the last one, there was some kind of a discrepancy with that one, but I contacted the town administrator, Troy Brown, and he told me that that was resolved, so.
Great.
Okay.
2 seconds.
You all set with that, Al?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Let me quickly go to public input. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak?
Well, we're just, we wanted to kind of get your ideas of what's going on with the mosquito controls for this
If you would be so kind, sir, step up to the table, your name and local address.
Hi, my name is Eric
Just for the
Cusillo.
record.
Yep, I live
Well,
at,
Al, I'd just like to say, take that, John Oliver, right? We actually have an audience.
nice,
right?
nice. I live at 18 Mason Drive in Litchfield, New Hampshire. So I came in and I wanted to see what you guys were talking about doing for the mosquito control.
In regards to the holistic program,
Well,
or
just the
specific-
overall to see what we're talking about. There's a lot of stuff going on with Zika virus and some of the other things. I wanted to see if we could get a little bit more aggressive. Maybe do some spraying,
Al, you can give him an overview.
something else, you know what I mean?
All right,
Because I've been a little bit out of touch with what you guys are doing.
no problem. Our program in whole, from the concept of the first establishment, has been a larviciding program to attack the mosquito population during its most infant and vulnerable stages. In effect, what that means is we started out, we tested a lot of our stagnant areas that we surveyed. We found that through Municipal Pest Services, our subject matter experts, and our current contractor for pest control services, we found and identified those sites which contain the most vector species, which are the ones that transmit Triple E and West Nile, the hazardous ones, if you
Yeah.
will. And then we treat the water systems with a biological agent that is targeted specifically at the gene level for those vector species, and what it does is it doesn't allow the infant mosquito to come out of the water and transform into an adult mosquito, which then produces the entire cycle.
Yep.
When we talk about spraying, you don't see these aerosol trucks going up and down our streets. That's really a short-term, effective manner. So if we had a massive outbreak, we would implement our emergency action plan, which the Mosquito Control District drafted.
Okay.
We would go to the Board of Selectmen, we would make our recommendations, and with their approvals, we would then instrument an aerosol type approach. That is the most extreme. Just below that, we do what's called barrier spraying. Barrier spraying is not an aerosol application, it's a droplet application that goes around the perimeter for, let's say, the high school, for example.
Yep. I remember you guys did that last
How
year. Yep.
the tree lines wrap around our football courts and the track. We will, just before school starts, we will put a barrier spray application that lasts 30 to 45 days, depending on humidities and
weather,
rain
yeah.
and
Yep.
weather,
Yep.
which actually puts up an invisible barrier. The mosquitoes will not come out of the woods and the wetlands, the damp areas, onto the fields. During our 275th anniversary, we had a walk that wrapped around behind the fire station and came into the parade area.
Yep.
We actually barrier sprayed that because we had a lot of people that was walking that trail.
Sure.
And it was a high mosquito area. We actually had trappings in that area that showed positive signs for vector species.
Okay. Yep.
So the barrier spray application is now built into the program. The program barrier sprays twice a year to all the public parks, the ballparks, the school parks, the tennis courts, right? Soccer fields.
Yep.
And it's built in. The second part of the project for the pest control is our manholes and sewers. More mosquitoes grow and hatch in the catch basins.
Yep.
So if you look down in your catch basin, you'll see a sump basin down there that traps the heavy materials and mosquitoes breed in there.
Standing water, right?
So we work with the road agent. We will wait until the road agent cleans half the town. Then we'll come in behind that half while he cleans the other half and treat it. And then when he finishes that half, we'll treat the rest of them. We work with the Rec Commission, thank you, in preparing our fields. Garbage cans, for example, great mosquito breeders. A lot of times, those cans won't be collected for a month at a time.
Yes.
If there's no lids and there's water in them, guess what? Now we're breeding mosquitoes right where our most vulnerable children are.
Yep.
When we talk about T-ball and
Exactly.
all of that, right?
Yep.
We work with the school board. We identified several high potential areas where John and who was the other gentleman? Thank you. Identified areas in the schools that were breeding mosquitoes.
Remember the trailer? Yeah.
Absolutely. The school board immediately cleaned all that up and worked right hand in hand with us, the Mosquito Control District, Kevin Lynch, our health officer and safety officer, our road agent, Jack. Again, Chairman basically identified several areas at Darrell Pond where there were old tire traps and obstacle courses, right?
Yep.
Every one of them had water
Absolutely.
in them.
Yep.
Old building materials from the tennis courts that used to be back there, the skateboard park,
Yep.
right? all of those active breeding mosquito nests. Mr. Pinciero went in, immediately cleaned all that out,
The same-
replaced all that material, put the grounds at Darrell Pond back to its natural state, got it out, and
Same thing with Dave Mellon, too.
Right,
Put the-
and I
put
was
the
just
ti-
going
put the
to that
tires in the
part.
Shed, yeah.
Dave Millen and the incinerator. Well, the former incinerator, now the transfer
Yep.
station. Even before it was popular, and I say popular, Dave Mellon, the board, and the Board of Selectmen worked. We now have containments for tires. The incinerator and the transfer station itself is mosquito sensitive. We have a lot of people coming in and out of there, and
Yeah.
they basically are aware of what it means to the community, not just how can I get more money in my budget,
Yeah.
or right, look at me, I need another raise, right? True conscientious town employees looking after you and me, because
Yeah.
after all, it's you and me that actually go there. right?
Absolutely, yep.
That's just a small part. John initiated this whole program some 12 plus years ago with a warrant article. Took a year from the time the warrant article was approved until we actually had funding in the next year's budget. And John and I now have been at it,
90, yeah.
yeah, since its start. We take input. We provide guidance.
Yep.
We are an advisory committee by state RSA. We have absolutely no authority. We have one line item in the budget. It's for the contract. We don't even get compute services, which is one of the topics I'll be discussing a little bit later tonight.
Okay.
Everything has been optimized, stripped. We had a budget that was never greater than $40,000 a year for everything.
Yeah.
Through the years, that budget is now reduced to the contract value.
Okay.
We have endured a lot of critique from our budget committee that basically we received several apologies for their lack of understanding of what this committee actually does for the town.
Mm-hmm.
We have provided services, I can't tell you how many hundreds of hours of after hours going with these various SMEs after dark so that we can treat these areas.
Yep.
And not have them,
Out there at midnight, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
In-
yeah,
in
so,
When somebody
effect,
forgets
we-
to unlock the thing, yeah.
I guess the thing is that, I understand the, the larvae stage and the barrier stuff. I wanted to see about getting more aggressive with the spraying in town.
we
Wha-
don't spray,
Yeah,
sir.
no, I know, but why don't they? Because when I grew up, they sprayed.
Well, when I
didn't
grew
grow
up
up
in
around
Florida,
here. The truck.
I used to be behind the truck riding my bike.
Me too.
I understand that.
Yeah,
They just-
If we were to start aerial spraying
yeah,
in aerosol form, conservation would be a challenge.
yeah,
Health and education to the public would be a challenge. Environmental impacts. We've been very fortunate in town. When you look at our statistics for the past 9 years, our populations are going down. Our numbers are our truth.
the mosquito population.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
You don't have to listen to John or
Oh, yeah.
me
No,
or the
I'm-
Board of Selectmen or Kevin, our health
Yeah.
officer. You listen to the numbers, and the
Yeah.
numbers speak for themselves. When you compare us now that we have a baseline history between our community, Hudson, Londonderry, Nashua, Merrimack, look at the numbers. Now, granted, we have volumes differences,
Sure.
right? But if you scale that and kind of equalize that,
Mhm.
look at our numbers. They're impressive. They're very impressive. And also, keep in mind, mosquitoes only travel about 100 yards.
Yeah, that's what some. I heard
So
of that, so.
most of your mosquito problems, and we're going to get into what you can do. You live in town.
I do.
Right. You have septic, right?
Yes, I do.
How old is it?
The house?
Yeah.
92, I think.
So do you have one of those candy cane pipes?
No.
You have a vented through the attic
Yes.
pipe, right? The number one attraction of mosquitoes is carbon dioxide, CO2.
Yep.
That's why in the evenings when you walk around, they follow you, right? So what do you think is coming out of that vent stack?
Oh, yeah, you're attracting them.
It's
Absolutely.
phenomenal how many mosquitoes breed in the summer in your septic tank. When you look around town, the newer developments, you'll see the candy canes,
Yeah.
right? How many of those candy canes do you actually see with a screen over it? A simple screen.
Yeah, I don't think, I've never
Simple
looked.
screen and a rubber band. You're done. No more mosquitoes in your septic. In your home, on your property,
Yeah.
right? Do you have gutters on your house?
Why no?
No gutters.
No, I got rid of those things.
Right. So all the houses with gutters. If you don't clean your gutters and you get leaves and pine needles and shit, sorry.
Beep. We'll beep it out.
That'll
Beep
be
it.
the next John Oliver show,
yeah.
right?
These breed mosquitoes.
Yep.
That's right at your house, right?
Yeah.
And of course, I am no shining example. Even though I'm aware, I'll bet you if John walked at my house and I walked at his house, we would both find reciprocating items of collection.
Absolutely. I know. I
You've got to stay on top of
You
it.
do.
absolutely. I understand that, and I just kind of wanted to understand the difference between the barrier spraying and why we wouldn't actually go with like the fogging. What's the difference in that?
So fogging's going to go away in a few days.
Yeah, or the
Technology is just from the days of the truck going through the neighborhoods is changed totally.
or even the checkpoint. A lot of the companies use the checkpoint now with the liquid,
Yep,
right?
yep. So in our barrier spraying, for example, we did a short segment on that 4 or 5 years ago.
Sorry, I missed it.
Yeah, no problem. The actual amount of chemical active agent, you know those high energy drinks that come in cans about that
Yeah.
big?
Yeah.
That's 1.75 fluid ounces.
Okay.
In a barrier spray application, there is one can in 300 gallons of water
Okay.
of that active agent.
So they did all those fields with that, yeah.
That entire area that we did, all the ball fields, the soccer
Yep.
field, right? So when we talk about barrier spraying with 1.75 ounces of active agent, which is some flour, I forget what it was. It's a natural chemical,
Yeah.
Oh,
right?
okay. Yeah.
But you can imagine the potency, right?
Yep.
Think of it right now.
Aerosol spraying is a mental mind pleaser and a physical hazard, right?
Yep.
Because, honey, the truck just went by, let the kids out,
Yep.
the wind's out of the east, and your yard's in the west.
Okay.
C'est la vie, right?
Yep.
Because the neighbor's yard is coming to you. It's less than 100 yards away.
Yep.
So you get a false sense of security on top of environmentally challenging events
Yep. I
and
understand.
permissions. And as you know, you've been in town long enough, this committee could go that fast, faster than it came,
Yep.
if the board and 10 of your closest friends went in and sat down and said, we are dissatisfied with those knuckleheads pumping aerosol across here and doing this,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. But what about like the checkpoint stuff, where they actually the checkpoint chemical I think goes in there and just kills them off, right?
So regarding the checkpoint, we have not consulted with our subject matter experts, Mr.
Okay.
Morrison and Mosquito Pest. I will take an action
Yeah,
to
well,
ask
'cause
him
I know
for
that some-
additional
yeah.
information.
Some of the companies
And-
actually use a liquid spray that they mix with water. I think it's, again, I think most chemicals nowadays have to be water soluble within 45 days. And it's, I think it's safe for residential use.
Well,
And
again, keep in mind, sir, I said, the perception
Yep,
of people is harder to create a sense of awareness than it
Yep.
is hard facts.
absolutely.
They're FDA approved, they're approved by the
Yep.
government, they're licensed by the government, they're administered by licensed professionals,
Yep.
and the mindset, well, what about the dragonflies who eat the mosquitoes,
Yeah, I know.
who eat the frogs,
Yeah, I got it.
right?
I'm down with this. The robin's eggs. I remember there was a robin's egg thing. Yep.
Let's not mention the turtles. And what was the owl? We had a, yeah,
Oh, the up
Right.
north, right?
Right.
In Vancouver. Yeah.
So those are the types of things, while it sounds good,
Yep.
and if you should become a member and actually advocate and promote, right, these types of thought processes,
I like how you did that.
Yeah, that was a nice leader.
you're driving now and you're not asking,
Yeah.
right? So again, we will ask,
Yeah,
Michael, we
yeah.
will get an answer for you.
Okay.
And if need be, we'll actually invite Michael and his team to a meeting. We'll inform you
Okay.
when he's coming, and we'll let the professionals. John and I, by far, are not the subject matter experts or the professionals.
Yep. No, I'm just.
Couple of guys that basically said,
At least you guys are
I'll
doing
do it.
something, right?
Yeah,
And that's
right.
that's why I'm here. I just see if I could help out, see
Uh,
what's going on.
we always try, our number one charter for the mosquito control district is public education.
Okay.
And even with the good work that the PEG channels do for us and the cable committee does for us, and our we actually air or stream these. I'll get the technical terms correct. These shows are streamed on YouTube.
Yep.
We don't have this kind of interchange between John and I.
Yep.
We don't see eye to eye to what's really on your mind.
Okay.
And the opportunity to answer those types of questions is lost in the technology that's helping us promote this.
Yep.
So it in effect, 10 years of service, 11 years of commitment, and I'm kind of wondering, John, if we're not missing a screw loose or something.
Hey, you guys have been here. Yeah. Hey, at least you guys are doing something, right?
Right? But
Yeah.
it is an ongoing program.
Absolutely.
It is
I
a
understand.
live program.
Yep.
Our contract is based in 10 installments, if you will,
Okay.
and there's a scope of work that's
Yep.
designated.
Okay.
The next communications we have with Michael, we will discuss aerosol spraying.
Okay.
We will build the case and the facts, and we will present it to the Board of Selectmen as either a recommendation based on those facts that Michael and the subject matter experts have
Okay.
validated,
Yep.
or not.
That's
and then
fine,
we'll
yeah.
let the other town administrative communities, police, fire, health, conservation, ZBA, planning board, recreation, and school boards weigh in.
Yep.
It becomes the Board of Selectmen's responsibility then to direct this advisory committee on how to pursue the expenditure of tax dollars.
Okay,
And that's really the chain of command, and that's how it works.
okay. Now, I know you guys are the mosquito committee, right? Well, what are we doing about ticks? Do those,
That's
do,
another part of it, yeah.
these fall in anywhere into this committee, or?
Yes, absolutely. The mosquito control district really deals, that's the formal state RSA for the district.
Okay,
Under that guise, we address adversarial mosquitoes, ticks, chiggers, and whatever else becomes under the purview of the RSA.
okay,
3 or 4 years ago, we had emphasized Triple E and Lyme disease and West Nile. All of that was like Zika is today.
correct.
And oh, by the way, that hasn't gone away.
No, it's still
Right?
there.
It's still extremely prevalent. CDC has put a very high alert for this year on deer tick populations.
Yes.
For any of these nuisance and dangerous mosquitoes or ticks, I can't emphasize enough, CDC, one click on the web, immediately you will see Zika right at the head.
Mm-hmm.
You will see West Nile, Triple E, tick controls, things as easy as putting a 2.5 foot barrier of bark mulch around your tree line in your yard.
Mm-hmm.
That'll stop ticks dead in their tracks. They won't come across. They won't come across the bark mulch. Biodegradable. If you
Yeah.
have the little machine.
Everybody has bark mulch.
Right, right.
I mean, yeah.
Spread it around.
Yeah.
That stops them coming in from your
But,
tree line.
yeah, but
right?
we gotta talk about like the fields and stuff, right?
So-
So I know you guys are trying to do your stuff with the mosquitoes and you get the larvae program. What are we gonna do about the ticks?
Ticks, we have no active program that we actually engage. We don't go out and, wow, that's a thought. Go out and take deer samples.
The ticks are
I
bad
could
this
find
year.
myself volunteering for that very quickly,
I
right?
think so, yeah.
There's a lot of good benefits in,
There are
in
some good
collecting
benefits.
samples for ticks.
There would
right?
be, yes.
But when we look at, we say deer because deer ticks.
Yep.
You're not going to stop raccoons, skunks, rats, mice, moles, voles, and any other four-legged, furry, warm-blooded creature
That's
that we
correct.
have in our environment.
Yep.
So, do you have cats or dogs?
I have everything, yeah.
There you go. If they're out playing in the yard, it doesn't matter, right?
Yep. Oh,
Do
I
your
un- I
neighbors
understand.
have cats and dogs?
Of course they do.
And are they as conscientious as you are regarding where their animals go and how old their heart's collar is? and-
I've been trying to help them, but, you know.
yeah,
I know,
well,
but that's the thing that you're
hence,
talking
it's-
about
it's
with the
an
education.
uncontrollable problem, right? And the only thing that makes it even remotely manageable is people like yourselves that come in and take the 10 minutes of time and discuss it so the people that are watching us, hey, these two fools aren't the only nutcases in town. We have a couple more,
Yeah, there's
right?
a couple of more nutballs
Right.
over here.
But it's that
Okay.
kind of interchange, right? So we're not just up here
No, and I understand.
talking to dead air.
Yeah, well, that's why I figured I'd come by and talk about this stuff,
Absolutely.
right? We can get engaged.
Do you
with
have
you
any
guys.
ideas? What can we take away?
I like Checkpoint, okay? Checkpoint. It solves a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's already.
Yeah, but
But-
it's again, the ticks are a real problem. I don't know that you're ever
I
going to
just
get
read an
them.
article the other day about the moose population is really,
Yeah,
really getting hit bad.
I mean, you know, they talk about, you know, everybody should get chickens again. right? Because the chickens eat them.
They love them,
Which is
right?
great, but you know, that's a whole nother
Oh,
problem.
geez, are we zoned ranching or zoned farming, or
Well, but I think,
do
but
we
that,
have a community ban on
that's-
eggs today?
and that's why I bring it up about the ticks, is because what do you do about it, right? And so I think we should talk to the vendor about that. What do they recommend?
Just like Al said, we discussed with the Recreation Commission, you know, to put some mulch and stuff on the
Right, I mean,
perimeters of the
yeah.
soccer fields and stuff like that, so.
I mean,
We've already, you know, talked to our contractor about that too, so.
yeah, and I mean, you know, we don't want any of these kids to get bit and get Lyme disease
Right.
or any of these other things, right?
My
But
dog actually had Lyme disease.
I think everybody's dog does,
Yeah.
right? So I think that, you know, maybe we should talk about that. I know there's a lot of kids in town that had Lyme disease.
We have some literature out there in the, on the table, out in the foyer out there, that we get free from the state of New Hampshire. It's pamphlets and stuff. on
Yep.
How to remove ticks and certain ticks that you might wanna look out for. It has pictures of them too.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I'm a little bit
if
familiar
you-
with
If you
those.
want one, you
Yeah,
can take them.
thanks.
That'd be great.
No, but I think that we ought to address that too, right? Because it is a health concern.
Yeah.
And it is a problem that, again, like the mosquito thing where you're getting the larvae, I mean, maybe there's something you can do with the ticks. I don't know how the tick life cycle works. I know that if you don't have a mild winter, you're not gonna get rid of as many ticks, right? Because the winters has a lot to do with
Well,
the
there's a
kill.
lot of insulation that you know, under the snow.
Mhm.
So if you have a lot of snow, usually they're out there in force,
Mhm.
you know. So, and cold weather usually doesn't bother them.
Yeah.
So they kind of live through everything.
That's right up there with the nuclear thing, right, with the cockroaches. But I think that we should at least talk to them and see if there's some best practices or some more education that we could, you know, put out to the town. You know, the viewers.
Yeah, we've had some videos on where we show the public how to remove ticks and all that stuff,
Yeah.
so.
But I think some prevention and what the common sense things that they could do. I bet most people didn't know that they could just put bark mulch around and, you know, I think that maybe we could do some flyers or something, I don't know. Do the Hudson Litchfield News. I'm sure you guys have thought of all this stuff.
Once again, not beating a dead drum here, budget, budget, and budget,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Resources. Do you see John and I with a laptop in front of us?
Okay,
Do you see
let's not go
in,
there.
in your town budget, right?
Yeah,
In your line items, when you look at the mosquito control district, do you see anything in there for advertisement, education, or awareness?
no, but we can change it,
That's exactly right.
right?
The more people that realize that come back to the Board of Selectmen and say, this organization needs resources to execute their charter.
Yep.
And having a computer locked up in the selectman's office when both of us, and I assume if you become a member, you work, right?
I do.
We all work 9 to 5, just like the people in those offices work 9 to 5.
Yeah,
And when we talk about, the town is reorganized, technology, I would have that discussion when I'm on your side of the table. When I come in as Al Raccio, 16 Bear Run Drive, taxpayer and citizen of the community of Litchfield. Then you listen to me.
Yeah.
Not I have to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Those resources, and again, we've been back and forth, and we've had selectmen that advocate resources,
Yep.
and we have a current administration that I personally, as a citizen of the community, not as a member of this committee, don't agree with, because I ask the same questions you do. And when we say, how are we going to execute that,
Okay.
right? And
As a town, and it's a democracy, we should bring these things up,
exactly,
get it on the docket.
right? The Board of Selectmen meet bi-weekly now, I believe.
Okay.
They have public input. It's an RSA guaranteed right to walk into a public hearing unannounced without any remorse at all
Yeah, I
and
don't,
speak what your tax dollars represent to
Absolutely.
you, to them.
all right, so like I said, that's all I had to ask, and I didn't want to take up too much of you guys' time,
Thank you
okay?
so much
I know
for
you had
coming.
the thing going on.
Now, we got 9 years of
Yeah,
public input time,
I
right?
can't, the funny thing is, don't these guys go out at night? Because if you do, the mosquito
Yeah.
the mosquito thing is an issue around here.
A lot of people think, well, they see the mosquitoes in their backyards and everything, quite a few of them and everything, go, don't we have a mosquito control program in town? But they don't know that we're specifically looking at the vector mosquitoes that carry EEE, West Nile virus. We
Right.
don't want to obliterate all the mosquitoes.
Because then the frogs wouldn't have anything to eat,
Yeah.
and the
Well,
dragonflies would suffer,
yeah.
right?
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for the time.
Thank
huh?
you for
All right.
taking the
If
time.
you want our autograph, you can have it.
Can I get a picture too?
I would like
Sure, we
Without a
can do that.
his autograph on an application, right? That would work real nice.
Yeah.
So we can,
Do you have
any
anything you'd like-
additional public
Yeah,
input?
do you have anything? No?
He's my moral support.
Okay. Okay, next on the agenda, activities for May and June, Municipal Pest Management Services. Just like to read from the contract. May 2016, the complete larviciding, initiate monthly street catch basin larviciding, microscopic species determination of the larvae, map existing and private catch basins throughout the town, and provide a minimum of 120 labor hours to complete the listed activities. And that comes out to a total for the month of May of $3,085. I'd like to go talk about June. For next month in June, complete larviciding, microscopic species identification of the larvae, initiate weekly mosquito trapping program for disease testing, including 2 light traps at permanent sites and 1 light trap to be placed at various locations requested by the town of Litchfield. Specimens will be identified to species and transported to the State Health Laboratory for testing. Complete street catch basin larviciding will continue and provide a minimum of 120 labor hours to complete the listed activities. And that also is a total of $3,085 for the services done for the month of June.
So, Mr. Chairman, that's an interesting read. We have a gentleman in our audience that has a concern about the mosquitoes around his properties.
Right.
We have a opportunity to take our roaming light trap, and if you were to sign the permission slips necessary for Mr. Morrison to set the traps, we could look into having the traps located in a vicinity near your house or your property, actually do a collection to identify what the species are in our given contract.
No, that'd be wonderful.
So there's
Yes,
no
no
extra
problem.
charges to the town, and it doesn't interfere, we didn't get into the nitty-gritty details. Our program basically feeds data into the national database.
Yep.
So our 2 fixed light traps are constantly feeding updated data down to the CDC's national database. The roaming trap,
Yep.
John actually thought up about 4 or 5 years ago. It took us a while to get the money to get the extra trap.
Yeah.
But it sounds to me like, Mr. Chairman, this may be an opportunity to provide a very small service to concerned citizens and let those analysis from that trap you will have public access to.
Okay.
And it will tell you, in effect, what may or may not be in your areas.
Amen.
So while you're concerned about mosquito bites, there's a very limited vector of mosquitoes that actually can give you and your family members the West Nile or EEE. If those vector species aren't on your property, then you have an annoyance, not a health issue, right? So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to instruct Mr. Morrison to place the light trap for next month, given the signed permission slips, and I won't disclose the address again, for a one collection series of tests.
Okay. I'll second it. Any other discussion?
Again, this is pending your signed permission slips, and we'll basically, that's the only discussion I have.
Okay.
All in favor? I'm sorry.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Okay, next on the agenda is chairman reinstatement for 3-year term. Al will be here for another 3 years, so that'll be a total of 12 if I make it to the 3-year period. So, and thank you for your kind words to the
No
Board of
problem.
Selectmen. I
Yep.
appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, next is Michael Morrison, which is our contractor, vendor. His letter in regards to the Zika virus. I'd like to read it to the public. No objections, Al?
No, sir.
Okay. Good morning. At this, this is a concern for many, given the news coverage. I'd like to address the current Zika virus outbreak. Zika virus is a rapidly expanding disease and will be addressed in our 2016 mosquito control program. 2 mosquitoes are the primary vector of Zika in the Caribbean, South and Central America. These mosquitoes are both found in warmer states in America, and Zika will likely occur there in 2016. At present, neither mosquito has been identified in our area. However, one of them is very close to the United States and has been identified in New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. The Asian tiger mosquito will eventually inhabit the area and start to show up in our mosquito traps. It is a day-biting mosquito and is found in urban and suburban areas. It flies very short distances and is capable of carrying Zika as well as West Nile virus in Tripoli. The presence of this mosquito does not necessarily mean that Zika will arrive soon after. We plan to identify, monitor, and control breeding areas of Asian tiger mosquitoes in each of our communities. Breeding areas include street catch basins, tree holes, abandoned pools, stagnant ditches, urns, clogged gutters, discarded tires, and anything that holds stagnant water. I plan to keep you abreast of the situation throughout the season. Michael Morrison, entomologist, Municipal Pest Management Services. Al, you have anything to say about that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
I know that you read the letter too.
Yeah, this is very consistent of the services that Mr. Morrison and Municipal Pest Management have provided our community over the past 9-10 years. Once again, his corporation is fully licensed. His staff works with us personally. He has donated in times of crisis. The first 2 times barrier spraying became available, he actually treated the town, no extra charge. These types of services and awarenesses are very consistent with municipal pest services, and the professionalism of Michael and his staff is unquestioned, which is a good segue to, we've all been getting notices similar to this in our mailbox. I'm not saying this company is good, bad, or indifferent. What I'm saying is education, and research. One of the news stations, buyer beware, right? If it looks like a lemon and it smells like a lemon, it must be a polished fecal matter product. When we get these gross mailings and they lead to areas of heightened awareness in our news, Zika virus, West Nile, Tripoli, Lyme's disease, and they charge anywhere from $700 to $1,500 an application of potentially talcum powder and bark mulch or some composite. You need to educate yourselves on what you're buying. Don't listen to the glossy brochures. Don't listen to the rapid salesman. If you buy it today, we'll give you 10%. You know the drill. Go online. Spend 10 minutes. Go to the library. Look it up. And if all else fails, call the district, the Mosquito Control District, or Kevin Lynch, your health and safety officer, and ask him or us the specific questions about what treatments you may be wanting to engage in. Additionally, as a town provider of services, contact Michael Morrison at Municipal Pest Services and ask him. We are a community that he services and has serviced. He will give you the straight up, no BS answers to the glossy brochures and what they mean to you. So once again, ticks, mosquitoes, intrusive vector species, ask and then spend. Otherwise, I have no history. These guys haven't contacted us as a organization, right? You just don't know. So again, buyer beware. There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of activity. You have been paying for a professional for 10 years. That speaks a lot in a city contract that keeps one vendor on for value proposition to the community. That's all I have on that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
And thank you, Michael.
We'll move on to any other business. Al, I was just wondering if you would be interested in doing a segment with Michael Morrison on Channel 20, LCTV Channel 20, to talk with him about the Zika virus and some of the work that he does in town for the public, if the public is interested.
Yes.
Would you
I
like
would
to
be
do that?
interested in doing that if
Okay, if I
you
can
arrange
set
it
it
with
up.
Michael. And,
Okay. Maybe like a half-hour segment, or you can do
well,
two.
that's,
Or you can
yeah,
do,
half hour on air is a lot of talking,
Yeah.
but
or you can do a half hour about Zika and a half hour what he does in town, or whatever you want to do. I don't.
right.
I don't,
I think between Mr. Morrison, this committee, and
Make it-
Kevin from the health and safety side, we
Yeah.
should be able to occupy a half an hour of the program,
all right.
the awareness, and what it means to
They
the
can
town.
run it through the summer. It's okay.
Yep.
All right, I'll contact him and let him know about that.
Great.
Set something up. That's all I have for any other business. Al, you have a
Yes, I do. I
presentation?
have, I've compiled a little bit of information
Okay.
regarding Zika and what it means.
All
And Tony, if you're ready, we'll step up to the board and kind of walk through it a little bit. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I've done is just a very quick storyboard to try and help you walk through the many different avenues of what does Zika really mean to us as a community. The first thing I want to point out is there must be in excess of 200 grants, federal, state, and local grants available to work the Zika issues. And I won't hyphen it by, oh, Zika's coming and, you know, we're going to have mutant babies and God forbid, right? But the plain, simple facts, Zika is a real problem. Zika has been identified in our surrounding communities. When we look at the Zika virus and in Litchfield, for example, We have an existing program. If we did the grant research, we could apply a 5-year grant program in excess of $100,000, which is not unreasonable for a municipal grant, that would set up a 5-year activity to do exactly what we're doing, only report it and focus it to the Zika virus. We would add more traps, take more data, have it analyzed, compile the information, and submit it to the feds as evidence of what we're doing with our grant money, and that would not be a burden on any tax liabilities for the town. No extra work in the office, no extra girls, no extra time. We need our administration to acknowledge the fact that the grants are available, do the grant research, and submit the grants. What can they do? Say no. If you do nothing, well, there you have it. Grants are a mechanism that this town has had its ups and downs over the past 30 years with. Mismanaged grants can cost the town more money than the actual grant value. We have to rely on our administrative staff to manage the grants properly. And what that means is, if a report is due annually or biannually, they need to make the report. Enough about grants. Zika virus and Litchfield, New Hampshire. We are a bedroom community of technologists to farmers, to retired, to young and upstarting families. When we look at Zika virus, let's talk a little bit just about the virus in country. All the colored green, including New Hampshire, has reported Zika cases. When we look at the international, when we are professionals who travel across the globe, we vacation in the Caribbean, we vacation in Panama, in Mexico, Acapulco, Tortola, Virgin Gorda, Yost Van Dyke, the Dominican Republic, anywhere in the Caribbean, in this purple area. You get bit as a traveler, you bring it home. You bring it home if you're a childbearing family and you're unaware, guess what you just gave your partner? If you're unfortunate enough to be trying to grow your family, now you're in serious trouble. And you live in Litchfield, New Hampshire. Travel awareness, professionals, vacationers, school break. You want to go to Florida? Look at that. You want to go down to any of the Gulf states, right? Let's go to Louisiana and New Orleans for a little fun and relaxation, right? Oh, I'm from LA, I need a little sushi. Right? Look at this. Awareness. You live in Litchfield, New Hampshire. When we talk about basic things like, what can you do as a Litchfield resident, as a concerned traveler, as a vacationer or a family? Pregnant and living in a Zika area, control of mosquitoes that spread. We talked a little bit about prevention earlier tonight. These are some very simple steps. Traveler awareness, bite prevention while you're traveling. Kits, destinations, where are you going? Takes a minute. Where are you going to travel? have to go to Atlanta for a business meeting? Oh, I know. Queen City, Canada. No Zika. Don't worry about it. You can go up and have your moose steak, no problem, right? But it only takes a minute. That's all it takes. When we talk about mosquitoes in your septic tank, which we talked a little bit of, that amazed me. I actually drilled down on that a little bit because that caught my eye. And I told my wife to go down to the hardware store, and I will be on my roof because, like a lot of our homes, we vent through the roof. I will screen my pipe. If you have a candy cane in your yard, and you know what I mean by the candy canes in the yards, the newer houses, right? Take an old window screen and a rubber band or a car gasket and simply cover the pipe. That'll alone knock out 20, 30,000 mosquitoes in a heartbeat in your front yard. That's not bad for 10 cents of investment in 5 minutes of time. Research. We talked a little about how you and I can help our families and our neighbors. Don't breed them. Do the common sense things. Get rid of the containers. If you got an old garbage can, for God's sakes, that's even turned upside down, guess what the water collection on the top of that thing is? Evaporation ratios in high humidity summer months isn't as fast as you think. Mosquitoes breed quickly. When we talk a little bit about awareness of where you're going in states, they give you New Hampshire. Right there. In New Hampshire, we have had 3 reported cases of Zika. 2 by family cooperation, and 1 was induced by a family member coming home from a not Peace Corps, but one of the ongoing services. Nationwide, as of 2 hours ago, there was almost 600 cases. 600 cases in a population of a couple of 100 million doesn't sound bad, does it? They'll worry about it somewhere else, right? Hey guys, it's here. Chairman brought up the fact that the tiger mosquitoes, Long Island, released by CDC 2 days ago. Long Island. How many of us go to the 9/11 memorial? Guess what, partner? Now you've just tripled your odds, because not only is New York an infected town, New York, 114 cases reported in New York. That's 114. So you've went, what is it, an hour and a half to get down to Rhode Island? And then just another, what, 40, 50, well, if you're John, it's 20 minutes. But the whole point here, guys, is it's not panic time, but it is awareness time. And if we get in on the grants and we do our homework and we get the resources that we need, that we're not at home printing this stuff 10 minutes before I'll regroup. We need a general awareness. We need to be on top of it. We need to engage our health and safety officer and our town staff to this up and coming realization of this virus that has no less than West Nile attention or Triple E attention or Lyme's disease, but actually has a more pronounced, it's Still very early in the research, but they are leaning more and more to linkages of birth defects and the virus. That's got my whole attention. Not to mention inconvenience, lost labor. Have you seen what the Zika virus rash looks like? It's pretty nasty, right? Go online, and I deliberately did not put the, he's a warmonger, or, right, he's going after he's playing the my child card in like so many, no. Go online, look at it. It's painful, it's nasty, and it's dangerous. We have the opportunity to engage this with our eyes open, with minimum impact to our budgets and our taxpayers, and maximum benefit to all Litchfield residents as well as our surrounding communities. If we take a lead role in this and we actually establish a grant, we will get federal support, federal aid. That could be in more equipment, that could be in terms of dollars, or just the fact that somebody might come up and actually speak to us. That in itself is a tremendous value. And Mr. Chairman, that's really no red lights. We're not calling out the emergency manual. We're not setting a condition for. But I will be talking about elevating to state 2, which is just simply a higher awareness and more proactive engagement. And it kind of lets the Board of Selectmen know, as an advisory committee, these are our observations based on the subject matter experts and the Center for Disease Control. And then they can act and respond accordingly. We can get resources, or we can continue operating the way we are. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to recommend we leave this out in front, if there's no objections from the towns.
Okay, you're gonna leave it in the floor here? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Town. Thank you very much, Al. You gave a good presentation, just like you did the last meeting. Very good work. Thank you.
Not at all.
Is there any other business before we adjourn?
Getting an application to this gentleman for.
Yeah. They're not going anywhere. Okay.
No, sir, I'm good.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Just like to thank the townspeople and thank the chairman for the opportunity to serve the community.
Yep. Okay, meeting ends at 8:10. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. Join us on our next meeting, which is on June 16th at 7 p.m. Thursday. We'll see you then. Thank you.